Question number 9. There are 500 children in a school. For a PT drill, they have to stand in such a manner that the number of rows is equal to number of columns. How many children would be left out in this arrangement? Please note, here we have to find the number of students that will be subtracted from total number of children. Again, we have to find the number of children that must be subtracted from the total children to get a perfect square or a arrangement where number of rows and number of columns are equal. When number of rows and number of columns are equal, it means that it is forming a square. Let's see an example. Here there are 3 rows and 3 columns, and there are total 9 students. So in this arrangement, and we know 9 is a square of 3, so we can write 9 is equal to 3 multiply 3. This represents total number of students, and this represent number of rows, and this represent number of column. That means to find the total number of students, we can multiply number of rows and number of columns. If number of rows and columns are unknown and we take it as x, then what will be the total number of students? It will be equal to x squared. Suppose so, let's start. There are total 500 students and number of rows is equal to number of columns. So let's take number of rows as x. So number of columns will be x. So total number of students is equal to number of rows multiply number of columns. So total number of students is 500. It will be equal to x multiply x, that will be equal to x squared. So now we have to find the square root of 500. When we find the square root of 500 by division method, we get the remainder as 16 and a quotient 22. So here see that what is the square of 22? It is 484. What will be the next square number? It will be the square of 23. How much it is? 529. We see that 500 lies between these two numbers, these two square numbers. And in the question we have been asked how many students will be left out from 500 to get an arrangement such that there are number of rows and number of columns are equal. Again, we see that 500 lies between 484 and 529. In the question it is asked how many students will be left out from 500 students to get an arrangement where number of rows and number of columns are equal. That means we should find a perfect square which is less than 500. So we will move in this direction. And we see here that remainder is 16. So we should subtract 16 from 500 to get a number of students to get a perfect square. So what number we should subtract? 16 to get a perfect square. That means 16 students will be left out from the arrangement. For a PT drill, they have to stand in such a manner that the number of rows is equal to number of columns. For this, we need to find how many children will be left out in this arrangement. We need to find the least number that must be subtracted from 500 so as to get a perfect square. So, we subtract 16, that is the remainder, from 500 to get a perfect square. So 16 students will be left out in this arrangement. Hope this is clear. Thank you.